Everybody, I'm Tasha from the Major Change Group, and today we're going to be talking about, have you ever had one of your credit card limits decreased or they cut your credit card off all at once? And this actually has happened to me with Bank of America. Y'all, I had two credit cards where they had closed them without me knowing. They didn't message me or anything. And it was probably like $30,000 between the two of those credit cards. And I was so upset. Well, recently I got a question asking, will Navy Federal decrease your credit limit if you don't use nearly that limit? And I was like, wow, that's a great question. And I got to thinking, and so I have three credit cards with Navy Federal. I have my Navy Federal Flagship, my Navy Federal More Rewards, and my Navy Federal Cash Rewards. And especially right now, my daily drivers are my American Express Gold card and my Navy Federal Flagship. And so I rarely even use my Navy Federal Cash Rewards credit card. And my limit for that one is like $14,000. And I probably only spend not even 1% on a credit card. So usually I have one bill, my Comcast is auto drafted off of that credit card. I think it's like $118, and I might pay maybe like one other bill. So it's like I very rarely even use that credit card. And here recently I have been thinking like, man, would Navy Federal cut that card since I'm not using it? And I haven't seen it. So when I responded, I was just like, well, I haven't seen that Navy Federal would, decrease your credit limit. But we know that banks have, either closed credit cards, because it happened to me. They closed two of mine, Bank of America. And, they could either slash your credit limit or close it all the way. But I really think with Navy Federal, they're more so of a relationship type of credit union. So I really don't foresee them doing that. But we know that with credit cards, it is unsecured debt. So on the one hand, even though Bank of America did, close those credit cards down, the bank is really looking, to make sure that, especially depending on how the economy is doing, they don't want people running up their credit cards and then the probability of them getting it back, especially since it is unsecured debt, that they might not get paid for it. So I possibly could see it, but it's just like on the one hand, especially with my Bank of America, I had been banking with them for like 15 years or so. So I had two credit cards, and then I had my checking account, and I had been in good standings and all that kind of stuff. And so I was really surprised. But, when you think of it from a business standpoint, but I was still kind of mad because I ended up still closing my account with Bank of America because it made me so mad. And so really, I just use Navy Federal 100%. So I'm just like, because they did not even send me an email. They sent me a message afterwards. So it's just like with Navy Federal, since you're more of a relationship, because I feel like if you have low utilization on your credit cards, if you use other products with them, because with Navy Federal, you have an internal score. So I think, with that internal score being high, you have a better relationship, in my opinion. So it's just like, I really don't see them, either decreasing your credit limit or closing your credit card compared to some banks. And that's just my opinion. But you will definitely have to let me know in the comments, have any of your credit cards with Navy Federal, let's say you're not using that credit card that much, and have Navy Federal either close the credit card or decrease your limit. But one thing that I really like to do, I like to use the credit card utilization hack, where I'll leave, usually maybe like 2% on credit cards so that I can report to the credit bureau so that it'll appear that I'm, using the card, opposed to letting it report at a zero balance. And then that make it seem like I have low utilization, because with Chase Bank, when I was trying to get the Chase Sapphire Preferred credit card, I actually had got denied, but they approved me without me having to do a reconsideration, because I had two credit cards with Chase and I really wasn't using them that much. And they had said that I had low usage on those cards. So they really took part of my credit limit for one credit card and put it on the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. so that I could get that card. But so it's like it's kind of hard, with having 10 or 11 credit cards to be able to spread the wealth, in my opinion, on making sure all of the credit cards can have, charges on them. So, it can be sometimes, especially with my Citibank credit card. I want to say it's the Thank You Rewards card. So, y'all, I've had that credit card for a long time, and I really don't use that credit card that much. And a couple of months ago, I had a charge on there. Well, it was actually a recurring charge. It was a yearly recurring charge that I had completely forgot about. And when I had checked my account, it didn't have a balance on it. And I never gotten any emails or anything. And I didn't check that card since I really don't use it that much. And I ended up not paying it because the charge came through. And then it was like late, and then they had ended up charging me a late fee and all that kind of stuff. But I was able to call them and get them to reverse the late fee, and they even reversed the interest charge on there. But it's like sometimes I'm just like, I have to do better about making charges on that one and letting it report to the credit bureau, because I don't want them to close that card, because I've had that card for so long. Because you know how sometimes with our credit score, our length of credit is going to be 15% of our score. So if I have a credit card that has over 10 years, it's like, really, I don't want that credit card to close. Or let's say if you have a lot of utilization on that credit card. So let's say for me with my Bank of America credit card, so one of the credit cards had 15,000 on it. So let's say if I had 10,000 charge, and then they cut the credit limit to 11,000, then that's pretty much 90% utilization. And so then that's going to mess up your credit score. So I think that's a good reason to make sure that your credit utilization is low. I would say probably the lower that you can get it, the better. But, usually 30% or lower. But I say probably 2% or lower. That's going to be the sweet spot, because if something like this happens to where they slash your credit limit and you have high utilization, then it's going to really mess up your, you're going to be losing some of that credit limit, and you're going to end up getting high utilization, which in turn is going to make you have a low credit score. And I think that with having high utilization, it's 30% of our credit score. I think that's probably like the worst with our credit, but the easiest that we can affect on the one hand. And then our payment history is 35% of our credit. So overall, I haven't seen where Navy Federal has decreased credit limits if you're not really using the card. But I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I feel like, a high probability, I haven't seen it before. And so, we'll have to see. And it really also got me to thinking, especially with me having the 3 Navy Federal credit cards, I'm just like, I don't know, y'all. I'm really feeling like I want to maybe close my Navy Federal Cash Rewards card and see if I can put the limit on one of the other credit cards. But I was just thinking, but it's just like, on the one hand, my Navy Federal Cash Rewards card, I believe it is a MasterCard. So I don't know if they would let me move that limit over to the flagship, because that's a Visa, or move it over to the more rewards, because that's American Express. So I will have to call and see. But let me know, what do you think about possibly closing one of my Navy Federal credit cards? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Have you did that, or have you moved any of your credit limits over to some of the other credit cards? So I'm just like, I don't know. But it's just like, since I'm really not using that Cash Rewards card, I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, man, since I really don't use it, but I'm just like, I don't know. So we'll have to see. But let me know in the comments. I'm going to research it, and I'm going to decide what I'm going to do, because it's really coming up in December. I believe it's coming up on 2 years since I had the Navy Federal Cash Rewards card. But I would say out of the 3, that's the least that I use, because it only gets 1.75% cash back. But I know a lot of people like the Navy Federal Cash Rewards card, because you can immediately, it doesn't matter if you have $2 or $5, cash back available, then you can take it. Compared to like with the flagship or the more rewards, I believe you have to have at least $50 to be able to do, get cash back. So, but for the most part, I'm usually saving all of my cash back, and I'm usually waiting to use it until I'm going on a trip or something like that. Or maybe I want to get, like a Fitbit or something like that. But so I don't know. So we're gonna see. So I'm gonna keep you posted on that. But let me know in the comments. Have you seen it? And have any of your credit cards, no matter if it's a bank or a credit union, have they been closed due to low usage, no usage, or did they just slash your credit limit? I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. But also, if you have questions that you want me to respond to, it could be on credit cards, budgeting, anything, let me know in the comments and I will most definitely make a video about it. But I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. It's not a game.